They say winning ain't everything. Well, we don't have them type conversations over here, man. Had that conversation with the losers. We trying to win at everything we do. Even in the loss, we don't see defeat. We see a lesson learned. Straight up. Look, I came into this world in 1978. The doc looked me in my face and knew I was something great. 45, 42 Prescott, that's where I'm from. Grew up in the slums around dope dealers and bums. As humble as I was, I adapted to my habitat. In my own lane though, far from where they crashing at. Dumb bar graduate, the game I done mastered it. Served in the Navy, look, y'all don't know the half of it. Pops passed in '01, moms passed last year. I know they up in heaven smiling down, crying mad tears, cause they son making it. No telling where I'm taking it. My city been cursed, but I feel that I'm breaking it. Coached at Wayne High in 15 in one state. Seen the fork in the road and went straight. I know what I'm worth, I'm OG King Kirk. Brooklyn Nets gaming crew legend, let's work.
Hey, this is OG King Kirk, your host of the OG2CENTS podcast. I want to thank each and every one of you who tuned in every Sunday. I truly appreciate it. This night is special. It's my 10th episode, Loving 2K. Also, it's my first live episode, so I'm very excited to be doing this show tonight, especially with one of my friends, famous enough. We're going to be talking a little bit love and 2K. It's a lot of things going on right now. As I do in most of my videos, I talk about the coronavirus and doing the 5. Basically, hands, wash them often. Elbow, cough into it. Face, don't touch it. Space, stay 4 to 6 feet. Keep a safe distance. And if you feel sick, stay at home. And just make sure we all doing our part in prevention and spread of the coronavirus. Also, I want to give a shout out to my team, Dave at the 2K Zone, Strider Visuals, and Box Graphics. They're a group of good guys who share in my vision with the OG2CENTS podcast. Also, the intro music is done by Stephen Ernest, Dayton native. I met him. I always liked his music. Asked him if he could do intro music for me a while ago, even before the actual podcast was even created. And he cut that track. I gave him a few notes. And he just, put his soul into it and told a little story about myself within that. And so I'm grateful that he was able to do that for me. Just jumping right into the show. Like I said, it's Love and 2K with Derek Franklin, a.k.a. Famous Enough. He's been in the community for years. I met him 4 or 5 years ago when I got started. Back then he was doing the Pro-Am videos and, bringing awareness to the actual Pro-Am scene of 2K. A lot of people was unaware. He'd been putting up some tweets here recently about, basically when he got started and, some of his first followers and different things like that. But he basically put our platform on notice. And, a lot of people should be grateful for that, and I definitely am. I got to meet him back the first time at the Pacers gaming event, and a real down-to-earth guy, and actually we, connected instantly and felt like we had known each other for a long time, but that's pretty much how that's the power of social media and what it can do when you're working together with people that you've never met or never talked to or never seen. So just a good guy. Been with Heat Check Gaming for 2 seasons. It's going into his 3rd season. Just constantly giving back to the community with his honesty, sometimes brutal honesty to a lot of up and coming players, but it's necessary. So with further ado, I want to bring on my guest tonight, Derek Franklin, aka Famous Enough.
I get some hand claps. I like that. I like that.
Hey, what's going on, famous?
Hand claps. I'm doing great, man. How about yourself?
I'm doing good, man. I'm feeling good. Glad to have you on the show. Long time coming. I definitely, you blessing me on my 10th episode, my first live episode. So I'm just glad to have you. Just tell some listeners who may not know who you are. Just let them know who you are and what you do.
I am famous enough. I go by famous enough. I am a general manager and head coach for Heat Check Gaming. I've been here for 2 years, going into my third season right now. It's crazy that it's about to be 3 years that I've been with them. Don't even seem like it. Seemed like a couple months, to be real with you. I started the Famous Enough thing back in 2016. Just like Kurt said, I just wanted to bring awareness to those players that play the game every single day. Those players and teams that play the game every single day. And it started off by from the road to the finals when the Drucker Breakers won. I feel like there was no recognition for all those players that put in the grind behind them. All those players that competed those 12-hour days on qualifying days every single weekend to try to make the tournament. They didn't make it. I feel like those players had a say-so in where our community was headed, so that's why I created Famous Enough.
Okay. Also something I want to put out today, happy Easter to everybody, that's listening and throughout the world. How'd you spend your Easter today, Famous?
Laying on the couch. What did I watch today? I was laying on the couch and I think I watched like Mission Impossible Fallout or something while I was working on my website, something like that. No, I take that back because the guys practiced today as well. They practiced today as well. So little practice and then laying on the couch watching Mission Impossible Fallout.
Okay. Yeah, it's a pretty laid back day. We don't do much on Sundays either. I got out, went to the store, picked up a few things, and just got ready for the show tonight. You started something right before the combine, and it got a lot of people's attention. People in the 2K community and people that wasn't in the 2K community, loving 2K on Periscope. It started becoming the late night popular spectacle that if you once you was done playing or doing your league games and tournament games or whatever, a lot of people tuned in. Just share about your inspiration and what started that.
So with Love 2K, I always tell everybody that you got to have a support system behind you. And one of the main parts of that support system is your partner. So I wanted to highlight that part of our community. Even though at the time I was going through like a breakup or whatever, but I wanted to highlight that. I wanted people to come into that Periscope, and I didn't want people to talk about 2K. I didn't want us to discuss 2K because a lot of times it was at the combine games, and I just want people to relax, take your mind off of that. We talk about 2K every day. It was a point in time where it got real dark for me, like talking about 2K, and I was like, people only want to talk to me about 2K. I want to talk about other stuff. Let's leave 2K out of this for a minute. Let's just come in here, chill, relax, blah blah blah. And it started growing where a lot of people that wasn't part of the 2K community came into it. BH Work actually came up with the name. I didn't know what I was going to call it. I had no clue what I was going to name it. And BH Work just one day just said, this is really just like Love and 2K, and I was like, hold up, that sticks. And I hit him up. I was like, hey, can I get that name? And he was like, yeah, you can use it. Blah blah blah. This then the third. So it went from there. Then I started one of my exes from a few years back. I know she wanted to get into YouTube, doing YouTube videos, and so I hit her up. Sometimes when you hit up an ex, you kind of start thinking back about like why did we break up? Like how was the process back then? What did it feel like back then? So I mean, we didn't really break up like on great terms, leave on great terms. So it was like I don't know how she's gonna take this. So I hit her up and I asked her, I know you want to get into 2K. I mean, not 2K. I know you want to get into YouTube, and I had this idea for videos, and she was like, "What is it?" So I explained to her the whole loving 2K concept. Just showing that that an ex-girlfriend, an ex-partner can still be a good friend, and that's what she was. She was a great friend. She came down to Miami, and what's crazy is that we recorded about. And within a weekend, we recorded like 16 videos or something like that. And then the very next weekend was the Dallas ticket tournament, and she's from Houston, so she flew in from Houston to Dallas, and we recorded like 3 more videos right then and there. I think I only put out like 5 or 6 of them because I think like I wasn't like the lane that I was going for, it wasn't really hitting it. And I wanted to go back to the drawing board and figure out how I was going to, attack it from a better standpoint. Like I still have those videos in the tuck, the videos that are just sitting, and I think it's not a bad thing to have videos sitting because you have content that you're ready to put out at all times. But I just want to make sure that the content that I was putting out was put out in the right way. So I'm just holding on to it right now.
Gotcha. That's a good point. It's funny, the ex situation can be a little tricky, especially, depending on how often you've been in touch with each other, and, with you moving on from Houston and from Indiana and now to Miami and doing a lot of big things, like, it can be super tricky, reaching back into the bucket per se and getting someone to help you. I mentioned Indiana. A lot of people don't know, where a lot of it started. I think a few weeks back, I had realized I had watched you on Periscope, and you was eating, and it kind of threw me back to a moment in time where you were doing like a lot of preview for different new foods and different things that would come out. And talk about that a little bit, because that's one of the things that beyond the Pro-Am videos that I thought garnered a lot of attention in your earlier Periscope days.
Man, I'm gonna be real with you. I'm one of those people that like to plan everything out and put my ducks in a row and see how they fall. But those videos, that idea, that thing just happened. It was never planned, and I didn't realize that people would watch me eat. It was crazy because at that point in time, like it was like I was getting like 100 viewers just watching me eat food. Like I remember one time in particular, like I went through the drive-thru at Taco Bell, got some food. I think it was some nacho fries. Pretty sure it was nacho fries. Got some food. Went sat in the parking lot, ate it on Periscope, and I'm like, dang, I want some more. So I was like, I wonder if they'll know it's me when I come back. And so I I forgot what I did. I took my hat off or something and made my voice deeper, and it was just the funniest thing ever. And I think that, people want to see, we don't want to just always want to do 2K type of things. People want to see different parts of your life and different parts of you. And that's what I realized that, as I was growing, as my name was growing in this field, that it's not all about just what I bring to the community 2K wise. It was more about my personality. My personality stood out just for doing crazy stuff like that. I went to Chipotle and said, you shouldn't eat burritos, type of thing. And people thought it was funny. People thought it was hilarious, and it's so many different ways to create content. Content doesn't always have to be just centered around the game that you play. And that's what I realized. I went to school for marketing in Indiana. I was going to school for marketing in Indiana. And I was slowly realizing that to be bigger than what you are in one particular field, you got to become an influencer. And once I started influencing people on different foods to eat, I was like, I'm onto something, because now people, as soon as something comes out, they tag me in it. Like I was going to Burger King and trying like those Fruit Loops, milkshakes and stuff, just because people were tagging me in it and telling me, go try this. I want to see what you think about it before I go try it, type of thing. And we're not even talking about 2K no more. I'm influencing people on different stuff that has nothing to do with the lane that I'm pushing.
No, without a doubt. And I think that was the one thing that was special for me about this episode, is that we wouldn't necessarily be talking a ton of 2K. Love I think it's something that if you don't have it, you want it, and if you do have it, hopefully you cherish it and hold on to it. Especially in the time of need that we're in right now. Just going forward with the love aspect of this episode. Any relationship regrets?
No, I don't really have it. I don't live with regrets at all. I think whatever happens for a reason. My most previous relationship, I was in a relationship for 4 years. She was from Indiana, and she ultimately left Indiana and came down here with me to Miami, and she went through every single thing with me. She was through the struggle with me in Indiana. So she got the fruits of labor when we got to Miami, but grand scheme of things, it just didn't pan out with us in Miami. Different reasons as far as like the long hours that I work, because people don't understand, man. Like this job is never ending. It never ends. It's not just about practice. It's not just about the players. It's so much dealing with it, and everybody can't handle that. She was able to deal with me building my brand back in Indiana as Famous Enough, but when it came to Famous Enough, the general manager and the head coach of a pretty much a sports team, it was just a lot because I had little to no time, and it's no regrets on it. I still talk to her. I still see how she's doing, those type of things. It's no hard feelings. We just grew apart. It takes a strong person to be able to handle a little bit of attention, a little bit of time, and that's what I learned.
Yeah, definitely. Like, the one thing about what we do is it's not a clock in, clock out. Like, it's never, sometimes you don't know where it's starting and you never know where it's ending. So, and then, I've patterned a lot of things after on social media and branding and marketing and stuff like that. So basically, our phones are in our hand 24/7, and until we go to sleep or until we put aside a little bit of time to do some free things. So you're right, it definitely takes a strong individual, and especially in our case, a strong woman, to understand that. I mean, a lot of times, we can be accused or being suspect of a lot of things because we're always on our phone, and people always DMing us, and and different things of that nature. So definitely, any heartbreaks?
Way back in the day, man. Way back in the day. Sometimes you just gotta leave that stuff back there.
Gotcha. I think I was talking to off the record about a relationship that I was in, and basically right before I signed with Brooklyn, probably a few months later, I was talking to a friend of mine, and we ended up getting closer than friends, and I think in what I do, in the separation, and if you truly don't meet somebody that's in their own comfort zone and happy with themselves, it can take a lot out of a relationship. And I think that's pretty much what happened with me and her, is that obviously I went from quote unquote being in a regular setting, working 9 to 5, and now all of a sudden I'm flying back and forth to New York, living in New York half the year, and I think it did put a little strain on things, and I'm like you, we still friends and we still talk, and she decided she wanted to go her separate ways and try to accomplish some things and do that, and it was unfortunate because I was happy with her. I didn't have any issues or anything like that. I felt like she was a good cheerleader, a good supporter, and I tried to be the same thing for her. But I think everybody has to be happy with themselves before you can really be happy in a relationship. So I think that's pretty much where we separated, and
Yeah.
so it was tough, but because definitely I know for me, traveling back and forth, and one of the things that used to irritate me the most, and I don't want to sound like a hater, but we all capable of hating at one time or another, but I would get off the airplane in Dayton, and I would see other people like having a family or a significant other waiting on them to get back, and then here I am strolling along, walking by myself, the long walk to the parking lot to get to my truck. So it's like, you know, I don't care what anybody says. I mean, like, me personally, I don't believe that anybody was put here to be by themselves. And I think definitely when you have a lifestyle change, you definitely sometimes need that extra support to be there for you. And it gets tough. I mean, you know, how do you look at dating and doing what we do?
Dating right now, man, what we do, it's going to be a lot of patience. It's going to be a lot of one of those things where I'm free now. Can you do this? Can we do this now? Type of thing, you know. Especially during the season. During the season, it gets really, really rough, and you know, the person that you're dating really got to understand that time is of the essence, and that I'm the type of person like to plan a lot of stuff, but not like dating, not like going out. I can't do that. I can't plan a trip or something like that. So I need somebody that's gonna say, okay, you go to work. I'm gonna plan this trip for us, and you come home, pack your bags, and we out. And I'm good with that. It don't matter where we're going. It doesn't matter what we're going to do. I'm good with whatever you say we're going to do, but I just cannot plan that for us, you know, type of thing for me.
It's funny you say that, because I'm the same way, and unfortunately, a lot of times I talk to different women, and they want somebody to plan, and I'm like, for me, I feel like I'm the type, like, I'm not going to say no, and I'm not going to be objective or anything like that, but if you plan and it's something for us to do, then I'm going to be there, and I'll be ready to go. I'm the same way. So that's interesting. I think just because of our time, and it's funny now because with everything that's going on, we're used to a structured schedule, pretty much. I mean, especially like, you know, the difference between me and you is like I'm already here in New York when the events go on. You have to get on a schedule where you used to flying out and flying back in and everything like that. So we definitely need somebody that can implement a plan in between what we're doing, especially in season. So
yep, that's facts.
Any celebrity crushes or Twitter babes out there?
So my celebrity crush has always been this person, always been this lady. Do you remember what would you do if your baby was at home crying, or something like that? I forgot how the song goes.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
But it's Claudette Ortiz has always been my celebrity crush. I don't know why. I know she's grimy right now. I know she did some grimy stuff in her day, but for some reason, ever since that song came out, I think it was the group like City High or something like that. Ever since that group came out, ever since that song came out, I've been attracted to her, and I'm like, whoa, type of thing, you know. When it comes to Twitter, Twitter's funny because Twitter's funny, but a lot of people don't know that I had before I had the You Famous Enough Twitter. I have my personal Twitter too, and my personal Twitter had 5,000 followers on it. Before any of this, you know, it was, you know, I was that dude over there, and I just kind of like just dropped off the face of the earth. But I had a bunch of people that followed me over there, and slowly but surely, those followers started finding You Famous Enough, and they started, you know, coming over and migrating over. But it's always been this one person, this one person. Her name is Liz. This super cool chick, and I've always been super attracted to her. But it's always been like, you know, time is this, time and that. So I always stay back. But yeah, that woman right there is the person that I'm super attracted to. I can say her name because y'all don't know her. Nobody from 2K from the 2K side know her. So I can just say Liz, and nobody would know. People could actually think I'm lying about it, and that's even cool. That's even better. So that's it.
Nah, that's good. Me personally, I don't know. I mean, it's I don't know. I'm in a weird phase right now when it comes to any type of relationships or talking. I talk to a few people on the daily. Me and my ex-wife, we still friends and we still cool. And but it's like, I don't know. I was married for 15 years, and then we've been divorced almost 2 years, and it's like. It's kind of rough starting over, man. Like,
man.
the scene is different now than it was 15 years ago.
Man.
So it's like, man, between the influence of social media and a lot of different figures, I think I had read a meme yesterday that made me chuckle. It was basically you got women in their 40s looking up to Megan Thee Stallion. So it's pretty much like, just the power, influence, and attitudes and everything like that. It's like, man, I either meet women that are getting out of something, or still they either got out of it and they're still fresh, so they still kind of dealing with things a little bit, or I still have to keep in mind, like I'm living on two different coasts, pretty much like two different sides of the world every 6 months. So it's like, it's kind of hard to develop any type of chemistry. I know my brother, he used to get on me all the time because he used to be like, man, why you still talking to girls from our hometown, man? Like, why you ain't why you not talking to women in New York and like in all different places? I said, bro, man, it's tough. I said, because this is my second year in New York, so I kind of feel a little bit more acclimated. But it's tough when you don't know people. You don't know where they come from. You don't know what they related to. Like, you don't. So it's like, man, it's just tough. So.
And you the man back home, huh?
Well, I wouldn't say that, but I like what I like. Like, I don't care where they from or anything like that. But it's just like, I'm familiar. Like, I know their background. I know somewhat about them, so it makes it a little bit more safer. Because it's a lot.
That's the crazy thing, though, because like it's for me, it's always like I'm more attracted to people that I've known for a while because I kind of know their story. I know what they've been through. If I wanted to date them, I know what to do and what not to do, type of thing. But if you meet somebody brand new, like fresh. Oh, you started from ground zero, and ground zero is a tough place to climb up.
Yeah, tough. And that's the biggest thing. Like, I mean, I'm like, I did like, we all go through phases, whether male or female. Like, my early 20s, like I got married early. My first marriage, we divorced 3 years after. Like, we still cool. Like, none of my divorces were ugly or dragged out or anything like that. So we all still pretty much friends. But early, once I got to a certain point, like the player phase and talking and doing all this extra is out of me. Like, I'm in my early 40s now, so it's like, man, I'm still, like, I'm not gonna lie, I still get entertained by a lot, but but I'm not looking for extra. I don't even have the time. Like, now I don't. I remember I used to gamble with my time. Like, I already had, I may have had a girl, and I'm trying to talk to another girl, but I still got work and everything else going on. But now, like, I keep pretty much things in perspective. I mean, SGC is a big part of my life now, and it would just be nice to have one female to fulfill that role, and I'll just deal with that, like, and put my energy, put all the energy I have left over between managing the 6 players that I do and stuff like that. So that's pretty much where it's at with me. I'm kind of all played out. to say the least. Something you started, not too long ago, kind of putting the ranking system per se. You kind of took it to another level. A lot of people toyed with the idea. They played around with it, but it wasn't a lot of consistency. But you brought on something, and it went away. But Prestige area is something that I see you revamping and talking about bringing it back. Let's talk about that for a second.
All right, so this is Prestige area. When it came around, when I thought of it, the way it was perceived was not my intention. My intention was for people to see what me and a group of people considered them as, but my thought was that they would use that to see what they need to work on and better their position and where it was at. But people took it as a ranking system, and a lot of times when you come up with these ideas, and it's not about the way you come up with it, it's about the way the people perceive it. So if the people perceive it as a ranking system, then guess what? It's a ranking system. That's flat out. And so with Prestige area, I felt like I put a group of people together, and I felt like I had a strong team, and I felt like it was going in the right direction. But as time went along, I felt like, I'm drawing myself thin. I felt like I was doing a lot of work, and it was a lot of money coming out of my pocket. That's another thing people don't know, is that all those people that did stuff for me on that site daily, I was paying them. I was paying them out of my pocket. There was no money coming into the site, and I was paying them out of my pocket for every single thing they did. Every graphic that was posted, every article that was out, every single scouting report, everything that came out, I was paying those guys. I was paying those guys for all the work they did, because I never believed that people should work for free. You never want somebody to work for free for you, and because it just looks bad. And so as time went along, and I was paying all this money out of my pocket, and I was doing a lot of work, I was like, I'm doing a lot of work right here, and combine coming up, and qualifications coming up, and I'm going to have to start focusing my time on that. And of course you could pass it off to somebody, but nobody really knew the system like me, like I did, and like Matt Moore. Me and Matt Moore knew the system the best, and so I wasn't comfortable with having my name stepped on something if my hands wasn't in it. So I kind of shut it down. When it came to Prestige, I knew that people were going to be upset about some stuff. I know some people was going to not like their ranking. But the thing that for me was that I was not able to be transparent with those rankings, because it was the system that was in place on Prestige was the actual ranking system that I used for actual drafting players, and so I wasn't comfortable with giving that out to anybody. So say for instance, if I say, I'm gonna use Mama and Fab. I say, Fab, your passing is a 98. Mama, your passing is a 95, and they ask me why. To me, I can't be transparent about that system because I wasn't ready to release it to the world. So if I didn't have the job with the Heat, then I would be able to release that. Like, okay, this is how I'm ranking y'all. This is what's going on. Because I don't have a job to fulfill. So, but with me having this job, I'm like, and that's what I used for drafting. I wanted to keep it close to heart. So, fast forward. So I'm gonna pause right there, and I'm gonna say, in my mind, I changed the 2K community 2 times already. I changed it when I came up with Famous Enough, and then I changed it again when I came up with Prestige Area. And I'm going to change it a 3rd time when I come out with Prestige Area 2.0, because it's not going to be anywhere remotely similar to what the first Prestige Area was. It's going to be, you're going to see a lot of changes. That's not going to be a ranking system. There's going to be raw numbers that you will be able to see from what the players actually do. If they go out there and score 25 points a game and have 11 assists a game, that's what you're going to see. You're literally going to get on the website and you're going to see those raw numbers right then and there. And from that point on, you'll be able to say, okay, this player is this player is that on your own. Prestige area is going to be super dope. I do envision it coming out right around the time for 2K21. I have, and that's another thing with the first time I came out, it was super rushed. Season ended, I started working on Prestige area. Me and Glizzy had about a month to get the website up, and even when it came out, the website wasn't finished. But I know I had to get it out before 2K20 came out, so I had to just put it out there. And what's crazy is that it was up for a month and a half, 6 weeks, about 6 weeks, and it hit 50,000 views in 6 weeks. And so that's a crazy accomplishment for a brand new website. And but yeah, Prestige 2.0, working on it right now. It's gonna look a lot different. It's gonna be dope as heck, and I can't wait to see what you guys think of it.
Nah, that's dope. I mean, and like Five Sticks, it just said in the chat is that most great things take time, and that if that is not the truth, I think me and you are two of the many pioneers for the Pro-Am scene. And the one thing that I think that you said that really stood out to me was just like the innovation and the evolution of Famous Enough. We never settle. And I think I think that's the biggest attribute that me and you share is that, we do something, we put our all into it, be successful with it, but we're not content with just that. We keep it moving on to something else, still while maintaining everything that we built along the way. I think I like Prestige area. I thought it was a great idea when you came up with it, and like I said, it's something that was tapped into a little. I don't think enough people put enough energy into it, because the one thing I will say about our community is that if someone tries to do something and they don't fulfill themselves with the success that they think they should get, they're quick to quit and give up, and that's something that really I've tried to preach and pretty much put into to community, and you do it. He does it a lot. A lot of people I see that tries to be inspiring to people that's up and coming in the community, whether it's playing or whether it's content, commentating or anything like that. I always just advise for people just don't stop, don't quit. Just we're not always our own judges of our success. Like, I mean, because really we should be critical on ourselves and keep pushing yourself to the max. But at the same time, understand that things take time, and everybody may not notice you right away. They may not respect it right away. But I think as long as you keep it organic and you stay dedicated to it, you'll get your just due. And I mean, I want to say that we're kind of proof of that.
Yeah, I want to jump on that right quick too, because for us, where we came from, when we started doing what we was doing, you was doing it a few years before me and everything, and then I came along, and our love for Pro-Am was genuine. Our love for that game mode was genuine. There was no end game for us. There was no 2K League to think about for us. So what we do with all this that we do in the community still here and there is always genuine. And so I see guys that try to do stuff in the community, and I always have this feeling like they're only doing it just to get to the league. And so it just always shows itself all the time, because I didn't get this job. I didn't get this job.
Right.
It doesn't end there though. It doesn't end there. So just because you didn't get that job, get this job, you're gonna mull over it? Is that gonna diminish your love for the community, for this mode that you've been pushing? Was that your only reason for doing what you were doing, was to just try to get this job here? I understand there's an end game now, and the end game is the league, but the league is very minimal with positions. very minimal positions. And somebody that I really do look up to a lot is I don't think I've ever told this guy this, but Ev. I told you I don't know how to say his name. I don't know if it's Ev, if it's Eve, or what it is. But the WR guy, because this guy has put in so much work. Like around you and him, you and LT versus him and Lux and them. They started WR right around the time y'all did MPBA, and a lot of people always thought it was like y'all was going at each other, but. You was doing Xbox, he was doing PS4, then all of a sudden he went to both of y'all doing both systems, and it was always been love. But the thing about Ev is that he's more qualified for positions than anybody right now that's not in. But is he trying to do it? No, he don't. He's not doing that. He's worried about WR because he's still pushing his community, still pushing his brand because that's what he loved doing. That's what he loved. And so I don't get that genuine feeling from some people. They'll start something and just push it to the side when the numbers are not adding up, when they're not getting this, when they're not getting that. No. When I started Famous Enough, I had 0 followers. I hit 100 followers. I was happy. I was happy when I hit 100 followers. When I hit 1,000, I was like, oh my God, this is great, type of thing, because now I have a following. And I just think that people in the community need to understand that this is not a get rich quick scheme. This is not something that's going to happen overnight. I've been doing this since 2016. You've been doing this you're an old head. You've been doing this for a while, And so, we know the time and effort that we've put in, and I can look at new people that's coming behind us, and I can just say, you didn't put in nowhere near as much time as we did when we was coming up, but you think you're qualified over us. You think you can come and, type of thing. And I know it's two different lanes when I'm talking about the 2K League and the Prime community, but I'm just saying, man, it's nothing happens overnight. You have to put work in, and you can't mull over things like that. The 2K League is going to be here for a long time. You gotta put your foot in the mud and leave your tracks and let somebody pick them up.
No doubt. I think that was the beauty of it. I think with me, LT, West, Ev, Lux, the whole WR family. I think the community tried to pit us against each other, but it was never about that. Like I never, and me, I always took the different approach. Being the old head of the community, I was never afraid to reach out and talk to people.
Mm-hmm.
I reached out. Once I seen you doing the videos, and I think I seen our logo in there one time, and I got excited, and I was like, man, I need to talk to him. I need to meet him. The same with Comp and Black Frank White when they were doing First Shake. I seen them use our logo one time, and my DM Comp, and I think he thought at first like I had a problem or something like that, but I was like, no, I just want to meet y'all. I think the show was dope. I've always been about trendsetters. I like trendsetters.
Mm-hmm.
I like people who create their own lane and maximize off of it. And even for me, I just look at some of the things that I've done, and now, I started. OG2CENTS started from one simple tweet, and now here we are in our 10th episode. Talking about a lot of different things that 2K, love, different, a lot of different scenarios. So I just think you have an idea, put some work into it. Like I said, we've been at this 4 or 5 years before we finally got to a point where we can be happy about it. And like I said, and then really it was just a glorious accident. And so. I talked to Ev not too long ago. Actually, for people who don't know, the MPBA and WR partnered the first time over 2 weeks ago, and it put on a great event to raise your stock for a lot of people playing post-draft to get their name and their game up, and it was a great event. And actually, they're doing a raise your stock too. Registrations is open right now. And you can check that out on the WR Twitter and the MPBA Twitter as well. But definitely big ups to those guys. And just pretty much everybody out here, even with my team. Dave is in the chat. Dave is, also the sound engineer for the OG2CENTS podcast. He does a phenomenal job on his show, the 2K Zone, where they do roundtables. He does a lot. He does a different special, I think, on Mondays, and he also does the roundtable on Wednesday, it'll be pushed to Thursday this week because of the league. The 16 event that we have going on right now.
Mm-hmm.
But definitely check him out. Great guy, genuine. We talked, and he paid me the most honest and humble respects, and I let him know that I appreciate him working with me just as much as he appreciates me working with him. So, and I think that's really what our community should be about. I actually seen Dirk's Twitter tonight, where he was talking about how toxic the community is, and I won't argue that. My thing is, let's change the narrative. But we always focusing on you don't have to talk about something that's bad to know that it's bad. Like, I mean, bad things don't need any more attention than what it already gets. So I think we just need to. If everybody who has a voice, who has an influence, focuses on changing the negative narrative in the community, we can do it. I don't plan on ever changing. I mean, my MO is all about being motivational and positive, and I'm going to stay with that. I mean, it's got me this far, so I don't know why I would think about doing it any other way. And if anybody doesn't think that positivity always wins. I mean, I don't have to be a superstar or anything like that, but I'm definitely living proof of what being positive can do for you. It's been a great show, Famous. Definitely, I couldn't think of anybody else probably other than LT and Big West that I want to share this moment with doing my 10th episode live. Very good topic that we hit on, and a lot of different things that we talked about. Just tell everybody how they can get in touch with you on via social media.
Everything at You Famous Enough. If you want to check out Prestige Area, the Twitter is Prestige Area. The website is up, but it's not up, so you guys can't really see it. Only I can see it, but it's theprestigearea.com. That's about it. You Famous Enough on Twitter, on IG. Yeah.
Okay. I want to give a special thanks to everybody I seen in the chat. Mama Driz, Dave, Firesticks, got the Lodge podcast in the house. Definitely me and him we'll be doing some things. We'll be doing some things later this week. Can't wait to be on his show, and I'm going to promote that heavy. He does a great podcast as well. Make sure you check out, Famous and what he's doing with Heat Check, also Prestige Area. Real good a group of people put together a family-oriented Twitter and connection for the 2K community, and it's at family_2K. And if I'm not mistaken, that's Mama. I think it's Mama Driz, and that's Control. Control's mom. And make sure you check that out. Make sure you give them a follow, give them a like, and retweets for whatever they put out, because it's a good group of people that definitely care about the community.
I think Dave's wife got on board too.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Mama Dre is putting in the chat is Sharon, Miss G, and her. Definitely. That's Mama too. Okay. Now that makes sense. Okay. So we got Mama 2K Zone in there. Okay, Sharon. Okay, thanks, Dave. Now I know that. I actually happen to be scrolling across Twitter, and I seen it, and I was like, man, this is dope. Let's see, that's another thing. Like once I think me and you had these conversations before where you would be like, why didn't I think of that? And I think when I seen it,
Yeah.
excuse me, I was like, nobody has never like put together any type of family unified Twitter group for what, you know, players, parents that's in the league that may not travel to every game or may not really know about what's going on in the 2K community. I think, you know, obviously parents that come to mind that are involved with the family 2K Twitter, but you know, you got Jim, you got Mama Chalk that's avidly, you know, on Twitter and supporting and everything like. So I mean, just big shout out to all the parents that support 2K, and whether, you know, some of them, whether their kids in the league or whether or not, they do a great job of supporting the league and supporting, you know, people like you and I, and also just the 2K community in general. So just big shout out to you.
Facts.
So yeah, just you know, as this episode is coming to a close, you know, I just want to thank everybody again for tuning in. Do understand that OG2CENTS is never a personal attack to anybody. It's always just personal thoughts and experiences in my life or those around me. Make sure to follow. You know, make sure to follow me on social media as well. Definitely at OG King Kurt everything. Also now the show is on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and Tumblr, and you can catch it on LinkedIn as well as Podbean. Also, I have a website, www.ogkingkurt, and you know, that's everything OG King Kurt. You know, and just check out the 2K Zone as well with Dave. Like I said, on Mondays and normally Wednesdays. You know, he runs a great show. Also, he has Coach Vilvin and Joe Vegas on the show as well. You know, just a shout out to my team once again with Box Graphics right along with Dave. And just be in tune next Sunday. Probably going live again with Rico Fantasy. Just another good guy. We're going to be talking fitness and gaming. Rico is the head coach and a certified trainer for crossover gaming. And just remember also to follow the 2K Family Connection at family_2K. And remember, if it makes sense, it's an OG2CENTS. OG out.